So, how many of you knew the writer's strike was still going on? I had no idea. We don't have writers here, and we do a show not too dissimilar to what Bill Maher and many of these other personalities do. But I guess ours is more authentic. I don't have a script. I don't have a teleprompter. I just turn the camera on, and then I talk. That's it. So Bill Maher wants to come back, and people are really upset because he's defying the writer's strike. He put out a statement saying, look, there's more people in this than just the writers, and they need to work as well. And Bill Maher is correct. And they're giving him heat for it. I can't stand this leftist stuff. The idea being that because writers are a component of studio productions and because they want a better deal, no one else should be able to work and everyone else should go on strike. Nah, that's not fair. That's not fair to people. That's not fair to the business. That's not fair to industry. It's not fair to the people working at the company who like their jobs and want to get paid. I understand solidarity with the writers who are striking, but at a certain point, there's nothing else you can do. So Bill Maher puts out this statement. He writes, it's a little small, so we'll zoom in, but he says, real time is coming back. Unfortunately, sans writers or writing. It has been 5 months, and it's time to bring people back to work. The writers have important issues that I sympathize with and hope they are addressed to their satisfaction. But they are not the only people with issues, problems, and concerns. Despite some assistance from me, much of the staff is struggling mightily. We all were hopeful this would come to an end after Labor Day, but that day has come and gone, and there still seems to be nothing happening. I love my writers. I'm one of them, but I am not prepared to lose an entire year and see so many below the line people suffer so much. I will honor the spirit of the strike by not doing a monologue, desk piece, new rules, or editorial, the written pieces that I'm so proud of on Real Time. And I'll say it up front to the audience. The show I will be doing without my writers will not be as good as our normal show. Full stop. But the heart of the show is an off-the-cuff panel discussion that aims to cut through the BS and predictable partisanship, and that will continue. The show will not disappoint. I think it will. Elon Musk says maybe you should put the material on X. I think he does. I think Bill Maher does put it on the platform. But I think this could be, in many ways, the demise of the establishment narrative, or at least another grain of sand in that heap. I grew up with Bill Maher. I didn't watch Politically Incorrect. I was too young. But when I was a teenager, we did watch Real Time. Periodically with my friends, we would watch Real Time, and it was awesome. Now I'm at a point where I'm doing my own podcast nightly news program where we discuss news stories. We do, I think like 4 or 5 with a spattering of different stories in between all of them. And I look at shows like Bill Maher as irrelevant. Here's what's funny. 5 months that Bill Maher's not been at work. And we have tried to book him. And we wanted to, in some ways, work with him. I've had people who are acquaintances between the producers and that we've had on the show. And they say, we got to get you on Bill Maher. And my question is always, why? Why should I go on Real Time with Bill Maher? So, there was an effort after Occupy Wall Street. They were like, let's roll. And I had no idea what was going on back then. It was 10 years ago. Or I'm pretty sure. And but anyway, I digress. I've had some high profile politicians and media personalities who are here at Timcast be like, hey, we're friends with these guys. Can we get you on that show? And I'm just like, what's his viewership? 1 million? He gets 1 million per week. What's the goal of me going on the show? And they're like, well, the industry pays attention to it and they should hear what you have to say and you'd be really good on it. And I'm like, I would have to put my work on hold, fly out to California to talk to someone less informed than me, to an audience that is smaller than mine. That's fascinating to think about, isn't it really? Now, I know Bill Maher's got legacy audience, but I think his ratings are about 1 million. Yeah, we do substantially more than that every week. Unique viewers. We do way more than that. But I know. I'm not trying to be arrogant or anything. My point is it worth the time and effort to engage with someone who is ill-informed and relies on writers to make jokes about news they don't actually understand? Someone who has mocked and belittled Dennis Prager when Dennis Prager was correct. You guys remember that clip? Now, Bill Maher's come around quite a bit. And this is another sign that he's starting to come around as well. So in recent times, scheduling wise, and knowing about the writer's strike, we've actually reached out to his team saying, would he be willing to come out here? They said he's not interested. I say, okay, that's fine. Like nobody owes me any favors, right? I'm not going to be like, debate me, bro, whatever. I then said, hey, to my booking team, Ask them if they'll have me on Club Random if we come and do the show in LA. And they just said, we're not interested. And it's not so much about being on his show or, Club Random's audience is much smaller than ours. It's because I'm at the point now where I see Bill is starting to open up to the truth. I'm wondering if we can have a legitimate conversation about these issues. You see, Bill Maher went on Joe Rogan's show and they had a discussion about various issues. Joe Rogan is a smart, inquisitive, funny, and talented individual beyond of which I will never compare. However, I know substantially more about politics and certain issues than Joe does. I think it's fair to say that while if you're looking at like a skill tree, Joe Rogan is, in aggregate, substantially higher, more knowledgeable, more talented than I. But in the area of politics and history, I probably come out a little bit more. And that's why he had me on the show with Vijay Gadde and Jack Dorsey, because there were things he didn't quite understand. So when I see a conversation between Joe Rogan and Bill Maher, I think I'm sitting there watching this going like, oh, say this, say that, Bill, no this, no that. And I'm like, I got to have a conversation with this guy. And he doesn't have to believe what I believe or have the same opinions as me, but I have more things that I need to understand from his perspective. Where we are today is Bill Maher in this post is having another bit of an awakening. He is going to get attacked by the left. They're calling him a scab for breaking the picket line. Dude, you don't get to tell people they can't work because you want to strike. We say, wish you the best, guys. Good luck. We're going to do what we can because we need to work. It's amazing that the writers go on strike and they expect everyone else to get involved. And a bunch of actors and actresses are doing that. Margot Robbie joins the picket line. Yeah, it's virtue signaling. It's virtue signaling. Wow, Margot Robbie's only 33? I thought she was like around my age. Well, she's young. Anyway, we're seeing this with Cenk Uygur as well. I'm being told, I heard, he went on Michael Malice's show. Is that what it was? And when we had Brianna Wu on, she mentioned something about if we would have Cenk on. I'm like, we've invited that guy 800 times. I'm like, I've known him for a decade. Just won't do it. Cenk, you're always invited to come on the show anytime, literally anytime. Would be awesome to have you on the Culture War podcast. What I think we're starting to see now with this, with Bill Maher, with Cenk, with many others, Anna Kasparian, is that they're starting to realize they bet on the wrong horse. I don't trust these people. I think it's plain as day. You come to me and show me a video of Joe Biden saying, you don't fire the prosecutor, not getting $1 billion. I go, wow, Joe Biden did thing. But the likes of Bill Maher and Cenk Uygur is, they don't discuss these things. They don't explore these things. They don't listen to their critics. Dennis Prager goes on Real Time and says they're putting tampons in men's rooms, claiming that men menstruate. And they all laughed. And Bill Maher's like, you used to be reasonable. Now you're crazy. And they all laughed. And Prager was right. Just beyond right. He was predictive. He was telling you what was going on now and talking about where it's going. And he was correct every way. And they laughed. When I hear something I'm not familiar with, I say, is that true? I don't know if that's true. I have to fact check that one. I'm not going to call you a liar. I'm not going to say you're crazy or wrong. I'm going to be like, I'm not familiar with that. Brianna Wu asked me about Casey Anthony's case. And I'm like, I don't know anything about it at all. It's like, what do you think about it? I don't think anything. Like, what do I say? I don't think anything. And this is what I see with, Bill Maher and the Young Turks. When the populist shift happened, they said, don't know, don't care. Left is right. Left is correct. Better way to phrase it. The right is wrong and the left is correct. That was their view. My attitude was, give me your arguments and let's figure out what works the best. Donald Trump comes out and says, we got a big problem with the border. It's very porous. And then I'm like, yeah, actually, that really is bad that there's unmitigated immigration. And then the left says that's racist. And I'm like, huh? Trump says last night in Sweden, creates this trend on social media. So I decide I'll go fly to Sweden. This funny thing happened. Paul Joseph Watson is like, I'll pay the bills of anybody who wants to go there. And then I hit him up like, I'll do it. And he's like, I was kidding, bro. But okay, let's do this. And I immediately got hit up. We did a fundraiser. I said, I will go to Sweden and I will cover this. And people were like, look at this guy. He's a leftist. He's a liberal. And I got former colleagues saying, don't cover the news from Vice. And I'm like, why? I don't understand. Like, this is what I've always done. This is what I did at Vice. we'd see a story and then we'd go to that country and interview people. And they were like, no, don't do it. And I'm just like, that's crazy. Telling me not to cover the news? I don't know who these people are. But that's my position. Now you're seeing the likes of Bill Maher and the Young Turks, and there's many other people. There was a great tweet I retweeted from a doctor who was like, I was totally wrong about COVID. And I'm mad about it. I shouldn't have just been tribal. Yes. I think for some of these people, they're crooked. And they're starting to realize that they bet on the wrong horse and it's going to negatively impact their bottom line. I think that of Bill Maher, which is one of the reasons I want to talk to him. You know, how could you have been so wrong about Dennis Prager? Why was your attitude to mock and belittle and call him unreasonable instead of saying, okay, you're serious? Here's what I do. If someone said that something outrageous to me, I'd say, are you serious? You're saying this is in the news. You're saying Google it. Okay. Can I get a producer to Google search this right now? We're live. We're taping. Let's pull it up. We do it on the show with our laptops. Imagine then a producer walked out on set and said, have a phone. And you, the host, Bill Maher, looks at it and goes, Dennis Prager's right. Can you believe this? Wow. Imagine what a shift that would have been. But I think the view is we must just defend the left because we're the left instead of what's right, what is correct. But I'm glad to see it. I think positive moves are being made. And I think Bill Maher is correct about what's going on here with the writer's strike and getting back to work. So good luck to you, man. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 8 p.m. over at youtube.com/TimcastIRL. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.